morning everybody, it's Iain from R.T.O. Welcome to Monday. Thank you. You said happy birthday to our Rocky yesterday. Yeah, he had a quiet day, as he normally does, just lazing around, demanding food, barking, you know, the usual thing Rocky does. But thank you very much for those of you that did wish him a happy birthday. So today we have got to the final part of the Sammy Hagar story. We've had an incredible journey from the Montrose right up to the band The Circle. Now The Circle is a supergroup that he formed, just like Chicken Foot. This one was formed in Miami in 2014, and this one is Sammy, Michael Anthony again, drummer Jason Bonham, son of John Bonham, and his longtime guitarist Vic Johnson. They've released 2 studio albums, but on September the 30th they released their 3rd album, Crazy Times. There's the cover, and we will be doing a review of that when it comes out. So today we'll look at the other 2, plus we'll look at a live album they did as well. Just have a quick look at it because it's pretty good. So coming in at number 2 then, we have their 2nd album, and it's called Lockdown 2020. As it was, this was an album that they recorded during lockdown. The usual thing, record your stuff, send it off, put it together, and bang, you've got an album. It's mainly an album of covers and songs from Sammy's career. There are some. I think there's at least one original on here. I'm just having a quick look before. Yeah, there's just the one, but the rest of it is sort of Van Halen and rock and roll and Sammy and the Warbows. Okay, so the first track is a sort of one of their own tracks. It's called Funky Feng Shui. Certainly got a 70s feel to this. I do like this track. It's pretty cool. Great drumming from Jason Bonham on this. Vic Johnson, great guitarist, some nice licks. Second track on this one is a cover of The Who's Won't Get Fooled Again. This is quite a short version of it. It doesn't do all the introduction, but it's not a bad version of it. I don't mind it. Then we get Good Enough, which obviously is a Van Halen song from 5150. It's not a bad version, but as much as Vic Johnson's a good guitarist, he's certainly not Eddie Van Halen. But the drumming on this is terrific from Jason. Terrific. Then we get a Bob Marley song, 3 Little Birds. It's a great track anyway. Like a bit of Bob Marley now and again. And they don't do a bad version of it. It's nothing wrong with that. Then we get an AC/DC track, Whole Lot of Rosie. It's not a bad version. It's a shorter version of it, but it's a lot of fun. It's a really good track. Then we get a track from Buffalo Springfield, another band we will be featuring at some stage. For What It's Worth, I really like this version. It's not a bad cover of that song. I Keep On Knocking and You Can't Come In, great little track from Little Richard, and as The Circle just nail it. Great bass from Michael. Terrific singing from Sammy. It's a terrific version. Then we get another Van Halen track. This time we get Right Now. It's a bit of a different arrangement from the original. It's not a bad version of it, a little bit different from the original, which makes this really good. It's a different interpretation, really good track. Then we get another Van Halen song, Don't Tell Me What Love Can Do, from Balance. One of the better songs on this album from Van Halen, but to be quite honest, this is as good as that. In fact, I think this has got a little bit more depth. Solid track. Then we get a track that he did with the War Burritos, Sympathy for the Human. Doesn't sound too different, to be quite honest, because when you got Big Johnson playing on it, you know, it's a really good song. I like it anyway. And the album closes with a rendition of Heroes, David Bowie, of course. It's okay. It's not as good as David Bowie's version, and I don't think there'll ever be one. I do like this album, actually, although it's all covers, but it was something, because there wasn't much going on during lockdown, and it's an album that, you know, it's just there to keep us going. And there's some great tracks on here, and I remember, obviously I've downloaded this because you couldn't go, record shops weren't open, were they? Or any, there wasn't any in Amazon or anything. I just downloaded this one and I love it, and I'm going to give this an R.T.O ranking of 7 out of 10. Okay then, coming at number 1 is the debut album. This one was released in 2019 and it's called Space Between. First track on this one is called The Devil Came to Philly. Love the start of this. Great chords, great track, great vocal from Sammy. Really like that. Then we get Full Circle Jam, Chump Change. Love this track. Jason's drumming is terrific. It's got a bit of a boogie drum to it, and a great little rock track. Great stuff. Can't Hang. It's got a bit of a cowboy feel, bit of a Wanted or Dead or Alive track. Pretty strong track. Great stuff that one is. Wild Open Space. This is a little bit of a acoustic song. It's got a nice mixture of acoustic guitars and electric guitars. Great vocal from Sammy. Great bass line from Michael as ever. Terrific track. Then we get my favourite track on this album. It's called Free Man. You've got a really great bass player and a really fantastic drummer in the engine room. Jason hits them drums as hard as his dad did. Sometimes you forget that it's Jason and not John. They're very, very similar, of course. But when you get taught by your dad, you're going to always be that sound. Great driving riffs on this and Vic. It's a great track. Really love this track. Bottom Line. It's got this nice little chunky thing. There's a little bit of keyboard on it. Pretty good track. Then we get No Worries. Now this has got a sort of a Bo Diddley Mona start to it. Really catchy tune. Great track. It's just a rock and rolly sort of shuffly song. Great stuff. Trust Fund Baby. Here we get a Michael Anthony bass line. One of the greats. Booming away. Drives the song along. Terrific strong. Affirmation. Oh dear, I'm struggling here. Affirmation. Sorry folks, as you know I still struggle with certain words. Another great track. The drumming from Jason is terrific. Sammy does a little bit of keyboards on this as well. Great little track. Then the last track on this album is called Hey Hey Without Greed. It's one of these semi acoustic tracks. Great harmonies between Sammy and Michael. It's just a terrific song. It's just great to hear those two working together. I'm looking forward to the new album. Really like this album. It's got some great guitar work from Vic. A lot of fun in this album. It really is good. If you've never heard it, go and check it out. I'm going to give this one an R.T.O ranking of 8 out of 10. Like we did last week, The Circle have released a live album as well, and this one's called At Your Service. It was released on the 19th of May 2015. There's some really good tracks on here, and that's why I've mentioned it. Opens up with a Sammy Hagar solo from Standing Hampton. There's Only One Way to Rock. What a version of this. It kicks. It's absolutely brilliant. Rock Candy, the great Montrose track. Brilliant version of that again. Super stuff. Then we have a Led Zeppelin track, Good Times, Bad Times. Great version. Jason's drumming on it. Terrific. Pound Cake from Unlawful Carnage Knowledge. Great version of it. Okay, it's not the same as Eddie's, but it's brilliant. Then we get probably the best version of I Can't Drive 55. I'm putting it in the playlist for you because it is absolutely tremendous. Great stuff. Then you get a Mikey bass solo, as it says on the thing. Brilliant. When It's Love, pretty good version of that. Then we get Whole Lot of Love. Terrific. Little White Lie from Marching to Mars. Brilliant. When the Levee Breaks, a superb version of it. Then we get a Jason drum solo and Moby Dick. It's brilliant. Great tribute to his dad. The man can play the drums as good as his dad. Why Can't This Be Love? Not a great version of that as well. Finish What You Started. Great. Heavy Metal from Standing Hampton. Brilliant. A Vic guitar solo. Best of Both Worlds. Right Now. Rock and Roll. Had to be in there, didn't it? Great version of that. And Dreams. I love this album because you get a chunk of Sammy's career, literally. Montrose, his solos from Van Halen, throw in a few Led Zeppelin tracks for good measure, and you've got a great live album. Really enjoy this album. Play this one a lot. I just love versions of some of Sammy's old songs, especially I Can't Drive 55. I will put it on, and I shall put Jason Bonham's Moby Dick as well. Okay, well that wraps up Sammy Hagar. Great performer over the years. He's had a lot of stick, but I still think he's one of the greats. His contribution to the world of music is there, and he's still going strong, so I'm really looking forward to this new album coming out. So next week we start a new artist, and we're going to do sort of we did a little tribute to this great man who sadly passed away earlier this year, but we're going to have a look at the musical career of Vangelis, starting at the very beginning with his very first band, going through his solo stuff and all them great soundtracks he did for movies, and then some of his collaborations that he did, and there was then there is that great one he did with Mr. John Anderson. So that's coming up in the next 3 or 4 weeks. I'll be back later with a classic album, and it's a band that you guys talk about a lot on this live stream. It's the Smiths, and we're going to look at the album The Queen Is Dead. So join us with that later. Bye for now.